My mother figure was my nanny, my nurse, who I called Dodo, and my father figure was my grandmother, who was Nanny Napoleon, and so I really
she worshipped Napoleon.
Absolutely worshipped Napoleon, and
that was her model.
Her role model, her model in every way.
You think she was actually almost maybe crazy?
I loved her so much, but I do think I do think she was, in many ways, sometimes deranged. You know?
Your mother, who you really didn't know very well.
My father died when I was 15 months old. I had no relationship with her at all, and I just worshipped her from afar. And
You two get to a lot of subjects in the book, in the documentary, frankly, that a lot of us would have trouble talking about with our parents. And one of those topics is sex. Mm-hmm.
Some people give leather. Gee, when they told me a leather gift, I was thinking more in terms of, I don't know, an attaché case or a wallet.
Myself, when I went to Farmington, went through a brief so-called lesbian relationship with a girl in school.
What? Hello?
We all did. No, I mean, it was very prevalent. I mean, you know, and
this is news to me.
It's like, this wasn't in the book.
This wasn't. You didn't mention this in the book, Mom.
Well, I guess because we wanted to get it out so fast, the book, that I didn't have time to put it in.
Anyway,
no.
I knew that when I did come out to my mom, I knew that ultimately she would be absolutely fine with it.
And how old were you?
I was 13.
Yeah.
And so I think many, almost everybody goes through at one point. Whether they turn out to be forever and ever, and of course the thing is that now we realize there is no difference. I mean, love is love.
And trust me, this is the latest in leather gear.
Really? Why do you sound familiar?
Very, of course.
My mom has always been very, open and honest with me in pretty much everything. When I was growing up, you often didn't talk about your past. Mm-hmm. Why was that?
So-called lesbian relationship with a girl in school.
What? Hello? This is news to me. My mom has always been very, open and honest with me in pretty much everything. When I was growing up, you often didn't talk about your past. Mm-hmm. Why was that?
So-called lesbian relationship with a girl in school.
What? Hello? This is news to me.
Why did you decide to ask your mom about all her lovers before and after your dad?
I decided. I mean, my mom has always been very, open and honest with me in pretty much everything. Sometimes more than I wanted to know. But it was always funny as a kid. Like we'd be watching, an old movie. I remember we were watching Robin Hood one time with Errol Flynn, and I remember turning to her. I was probably like 12 years old, and I said, "Oh, do you ever know Errol Flynn?" And she would be like, "Oh yes." And then she'd sort of drift off and there'd be a long silence. And I never pursued it because I didn't really want to know, but I knew there was a lot more there. Little did I know what actually was there. Errol Flynn. Oh, Errol Flynn? And she would be like, "Oh yes." And then she'd sort of drift off and Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn. Oh, Errol Flynn? And she would be like, "Oh yes." And then she'd sort of drift off and Errol Flynn.
It's me.
Anderson! Yeah. What are you doing here?
And you just decided to let it rip. You were going to tell him.
Well, no. I mean, I said that I dated him. I didn't go into any details. Right, yes. I mean,
you say in the book,
friend,
You say in the book, sex is great. We ought to have a sense of humor about sex. You say, "Oh my gosh, I suddenly realized my mother has a better sex life than I do."
Well, she's had she's had a much more interesting dating life than I have. That is certainly true.
I worked, the whole reality show thing didn't work out for me, so I working here at the leather place.
We look freakishly alike. It's like looking at, I know, it's a little strange here, I gotta say.
I have been called Father Anderson.
I know, you're right.
just so you know.
It's like the path not taken for me right there.
Or vice versa.
Right, exactly, yes, this could have been you.
What do they call this place again?
This is the news.
Well, happy anniversary, World News Now!